Kiwi Farms. And I know right away you say Kiwi Farms, and people are like, oh, nope, turn it off. I can't, nope, Kiwi. But what I found out about the Kiwi Farms investigation about this corporation really exposed what's going on when it comes to institutionalized censorship.
The person, the local LLC, the entity of, simply stated that ALYSSA MERCANTE had threatened us with litigation. However, Schneed says, "Stalker, child, you threatened the Kiwi Farms. This is why your life is already over. If you delete your criminal stalker threats off the lowercase I internet now, we will cease all trolling operations. It is rare for someone to have such control over their own fate." Okay, this is a guy called SmashJT, and he actually threw us a good word, so I think I would play this for right now, because he reads my article. So what happened is that ALYSSA MERCANTE, who I talked about on stream because she's super gross. Can someone remind me what ALYSSA MERCANTE did real quick? But while I wait for an answer, she got involved in the SmashCast, and which is like a big nerd area. She's a games journalist. What is she? Was she the one that went after the guy in Brazil to try and get his site deplatformed? Yes. Okay. So she's the one that went after the Brazilian guy and the DEI detected. And I talked about her because she's super fucking gross. She went onto the SmashCast, I think is what it's called, and super chatted something about how she was going to donate to Trans Lifeline as repentance. And so this guy did a deep dive into Trans Lifeline, and well, you know where that goes. So I'll play a little bit of this.
Goes deep. From Kiwi Farms investigations to embezzlements of misappropriated funds, it ended up being one of the biggest icebergs of hidden criminal activity.
Wait, I'll skip ahead. Okay.
Now I want to talk a little bit about Kiwi Farms. And I know right away you say Kiwi Farms, and people are like, oh, nope, turn it off. I can't, nope, Kiwi Farms, bad. They're bad people. They're awful, bigoted, horrible. It's harassers, Here's the thing. That might actually be true for certain individuals on certain websites. But what I found out about the Kiwi Farms investigation about this corporation really exposed what's going on when it comes to institutionalized censorship. Kiwi Farms described in detail the tactics that were used with the Drop Kiwi Farms hashtag, experienced from the inside. Say what you want about Kiwi Farms, but when a corporate agenda is actively trying to hide behind being anti-trans as a way to silence, remove, and ultimately...
I love that. That's such just the way he scrolls down, it's just boo, boo, scared you.
Shut down your website? I have some serious issues with that. Coming from someone who had people trying to shut down their website, I don't like that. I feel like if people have a platform, they should be able to use it to say what they want to say, and the audience can take what they want out of it and either trust the person or not. But they don't need a third party coming in saying, oh, we don't want you. We're going to remove your website and remove the ability to have people decide what they want based off of what you're saying. According to the Kiwi Farms investigation, Trans Lifeline was operated by Greta and Nina. The organizers would post extravagant lifestyle photos on their public Instagrams. Meanwhile, the Trans Lifeline hotline service rarely had anyone online to accept emergency calls.
A lot of this is just line by line reading of that article, which is interesting. We have all that information still. I had at one point developed a scraper bot because they used a website that was it was kind of like a plug and play website. You just set it up and point it at something, and then that software keeps track of when you have a hotline operator, and so it would show when you had an operator available and when you didn't, and it would also show you the schedule of when people who were volunteers agree to take specific time slots. So people would slot themselves in and say, I'll be available these hours, which is any time that they could be available. And as a result, when you looked at this page and it says call Trans Lifeline, we're here to help, you'd see like a schedule. Now, normally this would just be like, we're available 9 to 5 every day on weekdays, because that's when like it's supposed, that's how the software is built for. It's built for those kinds of call lines. But because they were slotting in people whenever they volunteered, you would get bizarre things where you would have entire days with no operators. Like Tuesday would be unavailable. You would have a person available from like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then on that same day from like 8 to 3. And then you would have this massive gap between like 3 and 9. It was just all over the fucking place. And oftentimes you would have nobody available to take the call at all, because I guess some people would just log on whenever they could and they wouldn't like schedule it. So I built a scraper that checked the website periodically, and I determined that it was like I want to say it was like 90% of the time, it was a really ridiculously high percentage of time that there were 0 operators available to take calls on like a emergency suicide prevention hotline. And to this day, I think if you check their website, they're only available certain hours. So they don't have call ops available all the time, even now, even after they've corrected cores and fixed things and stuff. So it's this huge cluster. And Trans Lifeline is always like the go-to charity that people donate money to when they want a virtue signal that they care about. But even to this day, and their policies are still the original policies. We never call police. You can call them and say, I have a gun in my fucking head. I'm at this address. I'm going to blow my brains out in 30 minutes. And you are not allowed to send an ambulance or any kind of wellness check or police to that address as the operator, because in their policies, the police and the involuntary commitments and stuff are always more dangerous to the than just talking to them. So by their like, even if there's a crime in progress, like even if they're committing like a violent offense, and the one thing that he talks about that I hadn't even heard about is that they have spent more than $500,000 on pro bono representation for like criminals, because their policy is that every trans person in jail and in prison is at an elevated risk of danger, and they don't deserve that. So they try to get every single out of prison, regardless of what their offense is. Doesn't matter if it's violent or public. They will always assume that A, the conviction is wrong, and B, the deserves to not be in prison because they're at elevated risk. That's how fucked up this is. And I'm very thankful that SmashJT shouted out my article in the forum for the work, and it's also very rewarding that even years later, like when the forum does something good, and it doesn't feel very rewarding at the time to have done it because people just lie, and they just say that we harass these, like Liz Fong Jones, like committed all these resources to trying and to cover up the fact that he participated in a charity, supported a charity, and he got involved with the Kiwi Farms because of this charity that literally, under penalty of perjury, inured $340,000 of tax-free money to its operators. And it doesn't feel very rewarding to with that kind of thing, because they just come after you and nobody gives a shit because you're the Kiwi Farms. But then 10 years later, you're still literally, like, we're getting close to 10 years on this. I'm still hearing about people finding out about Nina and Greta and the people involved and supporting a fraud. So it is gratifying, like, that the long payoff of sticking through and keeping things up and keeping things available is still returning dividends in bizarre, unexpected ways, where this horrible woman tries to virtue signal by donating to the charity, and then people can just search it, find my article, and be like, oh my god, this is like a terrible scam, or it was, and now it's just terrible organization. So that's nice. That's gratifying, chat. That's nice. By the way, in the comments, there's this guy. I don't know his full background, but apparently he's like a retard, and he commented on this and says, I'm mixed on Kiwi Farms. Yes, I did something incredibly stupid to get a thread there, and as such, sure, point and laugh at me. What I don't get is doxing me, or doxing me, my family, when I haven't even broken the law nor presented a threat of harm. That's where I believe they cross the line. Encourages harassment of showcased individuals. Sorry, bro. I don't know, like, the thing I never understand about the doxing thing is, like, the anger is misplaced. Like, okay, sure, you don't want this to happen, but do you know why it happens? It's because the United States is the only civilized country in the entire fucking world that allows private corporations to sell your data all over the place, and there's no regulations whatsoever, and everyone can just search your name and find out where you live with zero effort. Like, but nobody, and when we try to pass legislation to curtail this and make data something that has to be respected in some way, it always gets shot down in Congress because advertisers run this shit. The private interest of, like, the copyright mafia and the advertising mafia, they run this shit. They own you. You're never going to get privacy. You're never going to have freedom of speech. So long as the big tech companies, as long as the big rights holder organizations, and as long as the big advertising firms have a monopoly on the Congress, like, it's just not going to happen. If you want to change doxing, instead of going after people posting stuff, go after the corporations that sell your ass like a fucking commodity. This is it. This is a letter from the lawyers of ALYSSA MERCANTE to the Kiwi Farms, specifically to Matthew Harden, as indicated by our contact thing. Yeah, it's a unprofessional letter, but there's interesting intrigue to this, and I'll get around to talking about ALYSSA too. But she's like the Zoe Quinn of Gamergate too. She is a Kotaku journalist. She's a literal prostitute, and she's insane. So she hired this law firm, and it's a familiar law firm because of one reason, but another reason is that there's a guy in it called Akiva Cohen. He's the most Jewish-looking man that's ever lived. He's a part of it. And he got involved in the Nick Rekieta stuff at the start of Kick Vic. And when people spoke about him on the Kiwi Farms and posted shit he had posted on his own Twitter on the Kiwi Farms, he threatened us. He literally had been posting, like, family pictures on Twitter. And then when people started making fun of him for being an idiot for doing this, he submitted family photos of his to the Copyright Office to copyright them to try and bolster his threats against us. But this is his law firm, and he writes to the Kiwi Farms on behalf of ALYSSA MERCANTE. Matthew, which is a great way when you're writing a professional letter between lawyers and you want to get your mission accomplished. It's always a good idea to start your professional legal threat letter off with a first name basis. Regarding your client's threat to tortuously invade ALYSSA MERCANTE's privacy, we are writing you concerning your client, Joshua Moon, and his website, Kiwi Farms, one word. There is currently a thread on Kiwi Farms, one word, but with different camel case capitalization for no specific reason, in the non-public prospering ground section of the forum, hosting a full dox of our client, ALYSSA MERCANTE. They are gracious to include a link to this private area of the site. They say, see this link. Please note that this thread requires a Kiwi Farms, 2 words spelled correctly with proper case, login to view and has multiple pages. We trust that you will be able to procure login credentials for yourself, given your relationship with Mr. Moon. As you may otherwise not be aware, ALYSSA has hired us to pursue remedies both in and out of court against people who are serially stalking and harassing her online. Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms, one word, camel case, are not among those people we are pursuing. But we're just sending you a letter to say, hey, Matthew. Wait, can I make like a fingernail sound? Like, hey, Matthew, how you doing? I can't do it. I need like a scratchy scratch sound. Oh, here we go. How you doing? Oh, nothing much. We're just writing a legal letter. Just saying, how you doing? However, wait. But for the fact that it hosts a dox, the thread would be otherwise innocuous. annoying and upsetting in tone, but well within the bounds of the law. Well, thank you for saying so. That's a very nice admission. However, by hosting the Dox, Kiwi Farms, one-word camel case, provides an avenue for bad actors to get within the shield of ALYSSA's privacy and turn being mean online into genuine threats to her privacy and person. That we cannot permit. So just so you know, it's fucking trivial to find this online. Like, you just go to any of those phone book apps and you type in her name, and it's like her address history for the last 20 fucking years shows up. The threat in question violates the laws of various states and jurisdictions. It constitutes a violation of Florida statute, West Virginia Code, Wyoming statute, and U.S. Federal Code, just for starters. The courts have recognized this kind of malicious doxing as giving rise to liability as well. We recommend Gersh v. Anglin for an explanation of how things we think of as protected speech might give rise to civil liability. So if you don't know the Anglin case, Andrew Anglin is the editor-in-chief and owner of the Daily Stormer. The Daily Stormer is a avowedly neo-fascist news aggregation site. And Anglin is, as I mentioned, the editor-in-chief. He was sued because he wrote an article where he posted an incitement, effectively. He posted the personal information of this Jewish family to this site, which had a specific political bias, which, as we've learned from the Department of Justice, is inherently violent. And I think he said something specifically to the effect of, go do something, like make something happen with this information. So it's not exactly the same thing. Then he hired Randazza as his attorney, and he realized they didn't want to fight this in the U.S. because he's like, well, it would cost too much money. So instead of fighting it, he just abandoned the case, and they got a default judgment. So it's not really the exact same thing. Further, the threat in question in Kiwi Farms' one-word camel case's hardware continues to host Ms. Mercante's videos, which is an infringement upon her intellectual property rights. Kiwi Farms has no DMCA safe harbor. Yes, it does. We have a registered DMCA agent. What the f*** are you talking about? Further, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act offers no respite to Joshua promoting any threat of the Kiwi Farms property. This is the only interesting angle that they had in this entire letter, by the way. Promoting any threat out of the Kiwi Farms proper requires affirmative staff action, which obviates the site's Section 230 protections, see FTC v. AccuSearch, Inc., holding that where a website solicits and collects confidential information specifically for the purpose of publishing that information, a dox, for instance, then that website is not entitled to Section 230 immunity. This was interesting. I'd never heard that point raised, that the thread being moved out of Prospering Grounds, or the Proving Grounds as it was called before, into the rest of the site requires a staff action. But it's kind of bullshit if you think about it for like just a second, because it's number one, it's on the site regardless. If it's public or not, I don't think is necessarily a meaningful distinction as far as the protection of the speech. As far as I'm aware, there's absolutely no statute saying that something is more or less protected if it's private or not. If you're on a private streaming site that you need an account to view to get free access to movies, it's not somehow more protected than a public streaming site with free movies. You know what I mean? Second of all, the thread was moved out, but it was moved out because of the legal threat. The moderators looked at it and they moved it out on their own. And the moderators are not agents of the Kiwi Farms. They're regular community members who have a volunteer, no paid position. They get, just so we're clear, the Jannies do not get paid anything. They opt in to be volunteer staff to help organize stuff and take care of tasks because they like the site. They're just regular users, basically. So I disagree with their interpretation of this. To repeat, and this is the weird thing, Mr. Moon is not currently in our crosshairs, and if this threat removes the docs and never leaves the public portion of the Kiwi Farms forum, then there will be no reason for us to give Mr. Moon the time of day. That sounds like extortion. I think in law you're allowed to try and like extort people like that, but you're basically saying, yeah, we're gonna like sue you and try to waste your money unless you do what we want. And then I guess they like very flimsily try to justify that with a legal pretense, but that's basically like extortion. Our concern is not with policing the uppercase I internet. Hey, finally some fucking respect. Policing the internet activity of a single person or even a whole forum, but in protecting the security and rights of our clients. The less Kiwi Farms puts our clients in danger or permitting others to utilize information provided by Kiwi Farms to continue campaigns of harassment, stalking, and intentional inflictions of emotional distress. That's a big mouthful. The less we will have to get involved in Joshua Moon's business. Again, our sole concern here is ALYSSA's well-being. And this threatens that well-being if it is released in its current form as modified, and if it stays private, then we do not believe that it represents a serious threat and may safely be ignored. You know what's really funny? Oh man, I just had a banger of a thought. In this letter, the law firm says that as long as it stays private, then it has no threat to her personal security. Now, I disagree with that on its face because public information does not, in and of itself, and the site does not incite any violence, so there's no threat. But we have a specific rule that any kind of phone book information on a first page of a forum thread must be in private tags. And that private tag works the exact same as the prospering grounds, in that you have to be logged in to see it. And this is just a thing for search engines, basically. But if as they've written, their only concern is that this information is viewable by non-guest. Well, it's not. Even now, it's moved out, but it's still private because of the forum rules. So as they've said twice now in this letter, that we're only concerned about this information being public. Well, it's not. So, problem solved. I'm glad that we came to this amicable resolution of this issue. We look forward to hearing back from you within 30 days. Dude, this is always standard in these little letters that lawyers send out. We expect a response in 48 hours, or else we will proceed with litigation. Like, they always set like a timer, like dunt, like the first 48, and it's like there's no there's no reason to even write that. With news that Joshua has complied with this demand without amendment or complaint. Without amendment or complaint? What? So if I do what they ask, but I complain about it, that's a violation of this contract they've imposed upon me. If I amend it, if I remove even more than they're asking for, then that's also an amendment, right? Like, I'm giving them more than what they asked for. So if I give them more than what they asked for, or if I complain while giving them what they asked for, that's it. It's fucking Jover. We're coming after you. You didn't do a good enough job in the way that we liked. Come the fuck on. If he does so, this will conclude the matter, and this firm will go back to its usual policy of trying to think about Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms' one-word camel case as little as humanly possible. If he fails to heed this friendly warning, he will be forced to change our policy. It is rare for someone to have such control over their own fate. Please advise Mr. Moon to make the most of it. If you have further questions or wish to speak with us directly, please contact me by email. Wait, hold up. I had a funny thought. How's it go? Okay, hold up. I got it on screen now. It is rare for someone to have such control over their own fate. Okay, here we go. Get ready.
スモーネが自分の運命を自分でコントロールできるのは珍しいことだ。すべて計画通りです。
That sounds like some Japanese anime type speech. Wait, hold up. Oh my god, there's another meme. I'm on a meme rabbit hole now. I've had multiple anime avatars send this shardy post to me. as an insult. And I would love to be able to find it. Elon, don't fail me, you piece of shit. Ooh, wait, I know. It's the white eloquence meme. Sorry, I'm straight. This stream is dead until I can find this meme. Oh, yes, this is it. On YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, Shlomo Lipschitz, for your service and re-uploading this meme. Okay, here. After reading that message, I got this vibe.
Warning, white eloquence detected as detected.
Hey, buddy. You seem to have made a small mistake. I mean, you're talking like Sephiroth or something. You're supposed to talk like this.
In 1968, the Council of Irony Socialist Podcasters signed a no talking like motherfucking Sephiroth or something treaty outlawing the usage of language that isn't a direct quote from a leftist podcast or some form of African American slang.
Since it's your first time, I guess I'll let you off easy.
我需要钱，我真的，我特别需要钱，我要支付我的水电费、网费。
What that creature was trying to say is that Marxism prides itself in the worship of the turd-chucking masses. Therefore, the speech patterns of the white man are inherently ideologically opposed to it.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that white eloquence shake from that. But then again, I can't say it's white eloquence because it's not. It was asked that I read this. I posted about this one's. The entity known as Local LLC posted it on the Twitter account at kiwifarms.net. This message, and I sent the person, Local LLC, the entity of, simply stated that ALYSSA MERCANTE had threatened us with litigation, and then attached the message exactly as you saw there with no commentary. ALYSSA MERCANTE then indirectly roundabout replied to this, and then also deleted this message, by the way, saying, Funny how people calling me an immoral whore who can't be trusted are the same people who are deadbeat dads obsessed with pixelated titties. Actually, that's directed to Max Kearns, Grummz. Grummz apparently went through a divorce, and baby mama had a file to get that child support. And apparently now he's paying it, but everyone calls him a deadbeat dad. However, Schneed at _noobslayer_ says, Stalker, child, you threatened the Kiwi Farms. This is why your life is already over. If you delete your criminal stalker threats off the lowercase I internet now, we will cease all trolling operations. It is rare for someone to have such control over their own fate. Of course, this is a meme. There is no compelled action from Miss Mercante. She can continue to be as ridiculous as she pleases. I don't know if I actually want to talk about her because she's just really gross. I'll just point out the one thing I noticed because I'm under notice from a law firm, so I'll just leave it real brief. I skimmed through this, and all I thought was like how tragic this is. You see her, you see what a normal little girl she is, and then this is her as like a young woman, and something happened. Something happened that took that little girl, that young woman, and made her into just like the most vile, disgusting hobgoblin. Like, look at this shit. Look at this. Like, what the fuck? How does that happen? What has to happen? I think we all know what has to happen, but I'm not allowed to say it because that might be a defamatory statement. I don't have to prove it in court. But yeah, it's real fucking tragic and sad, chat. It makes me actually sad to see like this kind of decay. Tragic. Okay. This is about ALYSSA MERCANTE, who is still threatening us. for whatever reason, but I will read this response. ALYSSA MERCANTE quotes this passage that says, Marler sometimes argued with the veterans that he brought in, and he changed his mind about the decisions they made and would overrule them. Marler would also forget about agreements and then argue for the opposite to happen, and that impacted the work of multiple people, multiple developers said. Thomas decides to reply to this person, which is not a good idea, and says, Hey Alyssa, you're apparently a journalist from Kotaku, so I'm guessing you haven't worked in actual game development. Let me try to explain the thing you posted, which I'm guessing was from the hit piece from a few years back. I am guilty of what is stated in that image, and that's okay because this is the normal creative process. We brought a lot of veterans into Moon, because generally great people want to get the opportunity to work on great projects, and that's our goal at Moon. We always set out to create the kind of game we like to play ourselves that fills some hole in the market because for some reason these holes haven't been filled yet. Bro, you gotta stop talking like this. You need somebody to work on your press statements. We're all incredibly passionate about what we do. With great talent comes a lot of enthusiasm and passion, which leads into arguments because ultimately everyone is working hard on getting their vision into the game, but also everyone at Moon understands that we're working together as a team. So the point of these arguments is to then convince each other why this or that solution would be best for the game. Chaotic process, yes, I understand. I don't know why you're cursing out game developers and what your whole deal is, but I hope that gave you some insight into the creative process. As if this fucking... Dude, can we... This guy sat down and wrote a whole ass fucking tweet longer, exposing in the process that he pays for Twitter Blue to impress this actual prostitute. And then she responds. Wait, no, not here. I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you, though, or sorry that happened. So, I don't know what you expected. You're talking to an actual prostitute, and you're explaining the creative process and crunch. I don't think that there's a possibility that this hostile goblin is going to, like, respond to you. And internalize the lucid points that you've been making. So then she also complained about the Kiwi Farms for some reason, completely unbeknownst to me. There are dozens of comments like this on this hell site alone. I wonder if the right-wing men who continuously make content about me to spread lies about me face similar harassment. I do. Nobody's going to her Sargon her in either way. I mean, that's not really harassment. It's not like a threat. I mean, what is that a lie? Spread lies about me? Are you saying that you would? I don't understand. And then it's just a random screenshot of what is that video? I wish the video was embedded. It's from the con. I kind of want to hunt this down now. I'm a little bit curious. Just remember, chat. Oh, I'm blocked. I can't believe this. Ew, dude. Look at this. Look at this nasty, grody whore, man. Look at this. Is how she like puts herself on the internet. Like, I'm a disgusting. I have no redeeming qualities. I'm gutter trash. I have no self-esteem. Cool. It's really cool. I'm glad people like that get tax money for free to reimburse their time spent not doing anything.